Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another review video on my channel. Today I'm going to be checking out the RevoNext RX8s, and these earphones were sent out to me by Ken from the RevoNext company. As always, I'll drop a link to where you can purchase these in the description just down below. So the RX8s are dual driver earphones. They've got one balanced armature driver in the front and one dynamic driver in the back. They've basically got that same driver setup as some of those KZ earphones like the ZSTs. And funny enough, they also ship out with pretty much the same style packaging as those older model KZ earphones. If I had to guess, I'd say that these were probably made in the same factory as the KZ earphones, but I could be wrong. Anyway, these are the second pair of RevoNext earphones that I'm reviewing for this brand. The first pair that I reviewed, if you guys remember, were the RevoNext QT2 triple drivers. Now those were pretty good sounding, though just a disclaimer, I did get a few comments in my inbox from some users that complained of those failing. Anyway, if you wanted to check out my review video on those, I'll put a card above. Now let's first talk about the sound that these RX8s produce. So right off the bat, these earphones sound pretty good. They're definitely on the brighter side, so if you're sensitive to brighter sounding earphones, you won't particularly find these easy to listen to for those long listening sessions. Now for the bass, that is pronounced as well, giving these earphones a V-shaped sound signature. So you have a pretty good amount of bass as well as those detailed highs. Again, these are brighter sounding, so they may get ear fatiguing, especially if you've got sensitive hearing. And then for the sibilance, that surprisingly is at a minimum. Usually on the brighter sounding earphones, you'll find that they generally produce lots of sibilance, but these, I guess, are an exception to that. So just to clarify, you will hear sibilance with these, but it's at a minimum. Now for the mids that these earphones produce, I find them to be slightly recessed. It's not a deal breaker, but worth mentioning for those out there that want balanced mids. The soundstage is nice, wide, and airy sounding, and instrument separation is pretty good as well. Overall, a really good sounding pair of in-ear earphones, or at least I think so. Let's now talk about the build quality and the design. These have an all-plastic shell, and as you can probably tell, these don't at all look premium. As a matter of fact, they actually look quite cheap. And it doesn't help that they have this round, flat piece of aluminum glued on to the actual shell. In my opinion, RevoNext would have probably been better off keeping the shells clean, and maybe even adding their logo etched on or something of that sort. So for the most part, they feel and look cheap. But one thing that is nice that they went with was a metal grill as opposed to a fabric mesh grill. So thumbs up for that. Now on the earphones, you also have these 2-pin ports that use an interchangeable 2-pin 0.78mm cable, and the cable that these RX8s ship out with is very similar looking to the braided KZ cable, except of course for the termination plugs and connectors. Also, this cable here has that very convenient height fit adjuster, which really does help with the fit. And speaking of the fit, these earphones do a great job at that. So they pretty much sit flush, as you can see, and they do a good job at staying put in my ears. And also no noticeable irritation other than of course the bright sound signature. So great sound and great fit as well. But on the downside, they could get ear fatiguing quickly with that bright sound signature, as I mentioned a plethora amount of times. I'm sorry. And they do look and feel cheap, as you guys see. So I guess the question here is, would I recommend them? And my answer to that would be yes for the sound if you can deal with a brighter sounding pair of earphones and don't mind too much about the cheap look to them. And also you don't mind spending $30 because that is what these are selling for. And then no, if you've got sensitive hearing and cheap looking things bug you. Hopefully that answered your question. Also, one last thing, if you plan on purchasing these earphones, make sure to get a good pair of aftermarket ear tips, because the ear tips that these earphones ship out with are pretty basic and most probably won't give you that needed seal. Anyway, that's going to be it for my review on the RevoNext RX8s. If you've enjoyed watching this review, then please be sure to hit that like button. It does help me out a lot. And if you wanted to see more content like this in the future, then hit that subscribe button. For now, thank you all for watching, and as always, I'll catch you on the flip side. Later, guys.